Look at all that. That's what was in that intake for that coolant passage.
Don't tell him what you want. He's a liar.
I don't think that's supposed to be in there. What do you think?
You sit on a throne of lies. Smell like beef and cheese. You don't smell like Santa.
Hello, my name is Nick. This is my little channel. I like to call it Sunday Driver Rides. Thank you for joining me. It is appreciated. What are we doing today? Well, I started pulling out all of the parts for our 68 Firebird project. Quite a few parts to go through. Now, I don't know if you watched last episode or last time we worked on this. I couldn't find the transmission mount. I found it. Right down in, where am I here? Right there. It's in that box. Which was actually, where was that box? The box is up there. So I had parts there. I had parts there. I had parts there. I had parts up in my attic. I got parts out back. I got Firebird parts everywhere. So I need to start taking inventory and figure out what goes where. And then I need to figure out what I'm going to do next with this thing. I would like to get that engine back together, maybe get that intake on it, get the distributor back in it. I got to clean up some parts, put that pulley on. It needs a new fan. The fan's it's a racing fan. It's got, see that right there? See that little nip? Yeah, we can't have that. Last thing I want is a blade breaking and slicing my head off while it's running. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, I'm not 100% sold on it, but maybe I start putting that engine back together. That'd be nice. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just start digging through stuff and figure it out, huh? All right, just for fun, let's see what we got. We got tail lights, right? Those valve covers, we know about that. Ooh, here's our little dash cluster. I don't know what you want to call it. 160 miles an hour this thing tops out at. Wow. Yeah, I highly doubt it goes that fast. Steering. Look at the steering on this thing. Look at the glove box. That's cool too. We're going to have to paint that to match the dash. She can't be black no more. She can be purple. It's kind of cool with the old bird on it. The steering. It's really, see how like sticky it looks? The paint's lifting. It is. It's really, wrong hand, Nick. It's really, it's gooey. It's soft. So I don't know if anybody out there knows how to get rid of that stuff or recoat these steering wheels. It is. It's sticky. Yeah, look at it right there. Ew. Anyway, if you get any ideas on that, how to recoat these, give me a shout out. Let me know. I obviously got to redo these seats. Whoa, almost fell. I got too much stuff in here. I'm tripping over. I'm gonna have to buy a reupholstery kit for that. I've got the back seat, I think, up in the attic still. At least I hope I do. Pretty sure I do. So yeah, eventually those are gonna get put on when I get new rubber, new fuel pump. Hopefully the alternator works. Gotta clean up that pulley. Check that brake booster I got out of a junkyard. Yeah, a little intimidating. I got to get a game plan together. All right, so I'm getting ready to put the intake on the old 68 Firebird. And I was up here doing all this, scraping this, and then all of a sudden I pushed this back and I saw that pile of junk right there. And I went, huh, that's a heat nut. And a bunch more came flying out of it. Look at all that. I don't think that's supposed to be in there. What do you think? Look at all that. That's what was in that intake for that coolant passage. Crazy. Ooh, you know what? Let's do something. All right, we should probably blow it out, huh? Check it out. No thermostat. He just had that plate in there with a hole. And that one like that. She's a racer. Well, she was a racer. No, she's just going to be more of a daily, summertime daily. So I got to order a thermostat. So be it. All right, many days later, my intake gaskets have come. Let's get the intake on this engine, shall we? All right, fast forward a bit. I've got it all cleaned up. I vacuumed it, got all my paper towels out of my port so nothing would get down there. I got all that out. Hey, I siliconed these bolts for this tray, or the pan, whatever you want to call it. Why? Because the previous owner did it. If the previous owner did it, there must be a reason. And I never took this thing off, so no one's going to see it. Besides, the color goes great with the purple. So, I got the gaskets in place also. Some people don't like, RTV or silicone around on some of the gaskets because later when they take off the manifold, it's hard to take off. Well, I did it just because of the fact that intake, you can tell it's been around the block a few times. It's got some scratches and some pitting in it on some of the surfaces. So yeah, I put a little bit of silicone RTV, high temp stuff, just to help seal it up to make sure nothing leaks, So that is the reason why I did that. Too, I admit there are times where I like doing that because it helps keep the gasket in place too when I put it in. I just got bolts for this thing. I don't have studs, so you can't even use studs with this because they come out like this anyway. So you have to use bolts. So I think it makes sense to use silicone. If you don't, well, I don't know what to tell you. So what I need to do is, I get this silly little hose here. It's right in my way. So that's neat. Like that and fish that through. And what I also have is I've got this little O-ring right here. I don't know if you can see it where I'm pointing my finger. That's got to go in the water pump. I've gotten lots of silicone on that with that new O-ring that's in there. So I'm just going to gently put it down. Keep it tight up against there. And pray my holes to line up with my gaskets and everything. All right, let's get the bolts in here and get this done, shall we? You know what I just realized I forgot to do? Some of these some of these bolts from the intake look like they went into water jackets. So I was going to put a dab of silicone on here. Actually, I was just going to do it on all of them as a precaution. That way it's sealed up, nothing leaked. Kind of forgot to do that. Take them all back out. At least I didn't tighten them down, right? There you go. You can see I haven't used this in a while. I had to cut the tail off of it. But there, just a little bit of silicone. Come on, get your camera right, Nick. A little silicone on there. Put it back in. Call that one good. 9 more to go. Oh, and I got the wrong bolt for this one. I thought I had one long enough, but it didn't. Good job, Nick. All right, short time later, it's in. Shut off that light. It's bright. Yeah, I start with the inside bolts and then I just slowly go back and forth, work my way out. Torque spec. Quarter past snug. I don't know. I just get them in there so they're snug and I feel happy about life. So yeah, got that going. So I feel good about that. I really do. But you can see right here, here's an example of some of the pitting. It's got some pretty deep pits here. This intake has. It's been around the block, like I said. So just an example of why I use that RTV, silicone, whatever you want to call it. So what next? What next? I can put my distributor in, I suppose. I gotta find top dead center. It's not the end of the world, but I could do that. I gotta get oil for it too. Put the alternator on. I gotta order that thermostat. Oh, we could take this off. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, let's put valve covers on too. I didn't buy gaskets for it, but who needs gaskets, right? All right, next day, I admit yesterday I just decided to call it quits and call it a short day. But here's what I've got so far. I got some parts sandblasted and primed and painted today. Happy about that. Look at that. Ooh, and I got my valve covers cleaned up. Look at that. I even got one valve cover on. I'm even being cheap and reusing the valve cover gaskets. I'm just putting a little silicone on the back side so the gasket stays in place in the block. So yeah, pretty happy with that. It's not perfect. I just cleaned them up quick. I didn't like polish them, you know. It's an engine that's still going to be used, so not a show car. Anyway, so now I thought to myself, before I put this valve cover on this side, I should probably put this in, the distributor. So to do that, I need to find top dead center on cylinder number 1. I'll show you how I do that. Okay, to explain how to put it in a distributor, I need to explain how to find top dead center. Before I explain how to find top dead center, I feel like you need to know the basic principles of how a 4-stroke engine works. 4-stroke engine is what you're going to find in 99% of cars on the road today. So there are 2-stroke engines. Those are more in like dirt bikes and old 4-wheelers. Not going to get into that today. We're just going to talk about the 4-stroke. Now, 4-stroke, you know, here's your piston. Imagine this is in a cylinder and then you got 2 valves. One of them is going to be an intake valve and the other one's going to be an exhaust valve. So you got your 4 strokes. So it goes down 1, up 2, 3, and then 4. Your first stroke is your intake. So your intake valve is going to open up and then your piston's going to travel down. And while it's traveling down, it's going to suck in fuel, gasoline, and air. Okay? And then it's going to get all the way down. When it gets all the way down, that valve, that intake valve, closes. Now both valves are closed. Both your intake and your exhaust valve, they're closed. Okay? That piston's going to travel up, and what it's going to do, it's going to compress all of that air and fuel mixture. It's going to get it nice and tight, and then when it gets to the top, boom! It's going to explode because that piston, or not the piston, but the spark plug is going to ignite, and it's going to push that down. Okay? So that's your power stroke. So far we've got intake, compression stroke, boom, that spark plug goes off. Okay? Both valves are still closed. Now your power stroke, it pushes that piston down, that explosion. It's literally an explosion in the car that happens, okay? And it pushes that piston down, and when it gets down to the bottom and starts going back up, then your exhaust valve opens up, okay? And when it's going back up to the top, it's gonna push all that burnt fuel, burnt energy out the exhaust. So that's your exhaust stroke. And then it starts all over again. So it goes intake, your intake valve opens up, closes when it gets to the bottom. Compression, spark plug goes off. Power stroke pushes it back down. Then your exhaust valve opens up, and then it goes back up, pushes the exhaust all down, starts all over again. Intake, compression, power, exhaust. Intake, compression, power, exhaust. Just over and over and over again. It's amazing how many people don't know that and they want to work on their car. The basic principles of an engine, it helps to know how an engine works, to be able to work on it and fix it and all that fun stuff. Sometimes it's boring to learn that, but hey, that's the way it goes. Oh, hopefully I explained that right. I probably didn't. So sorry, I'm not really a good teacher at times with some of this stuff. But so I need to get it at top dead center. Top dead center is the top, when it's at top, right when that spark plug fires. So it's the top of the compression stroke right before the power stroke, okay? So to do that, I have this. I've got a 15/16 socket on here, and I'm gonna spin my crank. When my crank is gonna turn my camshaft, which lifts my lifters and opens valves, all that other fun stuff. So let's just turn it and see what happens. Now remember, this is your exhaust, because you can see the exhaust port here. It lines up with it this way. This is your intake because it lines up with this. Now some of you might be going, whoa, what's this? That's a coolant passage. That's not intake from your carburetor. That's from your radiator and your coolant, all that fun stuff, in case you were wondering. So let's start spinning this and see where we're at with this. Okay? Keep going. Oh, now see that? Look at that. The exhaust valve's starting to open. See that? So if my exhaust valve is opening, that means that it's been after the power stroke, and that piston's coming back up now, and it's pushing all that exhaust out. So the piston's traveling up right now. Okay, so it's done. So now see that one? That's your intake one. So now that tells me that the piston's starting to travel back down now, okay? So this is your intake stroke. Oh, here it's starting to close again now. So when it closes all the way, that means that piston's gonna start coming back up, and that's your compression stroke. So, in a little bit, that piston, if I keep going, that piston will be all the way up. Now, I don't want to make sure I don't go all the way past it. I'll show you how you don't get past it. Okay, so now on this side of the engine, just moved your camera a little bit. These are your timing marks, okay? And this is on your block. Actually, it's on the timing cover. And then your one on the harmonic balancer. You got this little line. You can see this little white line when I come up. So, when I come up and I turn this, see a little white line? If I move my hand, maybe you can. That little white line, you want it to line up with that 0. When it's at that 0, that thing is at top dead center. There goes my light, and it's shining in my face. So there. Ooh, that's nice. There. Now you can see, let's see if I can get you closer. You can see that timing mark on the harmonic balancer here is lined up with the timing cover right at 0. So now that piston should be at top dead center. That's key. And I bet you know what? Let's take a peek here. I bet you we can even see that piston. We look down on that hole. I can see it. Maybe you can't, but because my camera work is not the best. See it right there? Yep, it's right. That's it. Right up at the top. So kind of hard to see in the spark plug hole. In that hole. Right there. So, all right, I'll show you what's next. All right, next, here's your distributor. All right, so you got your cap, and then inside here, I've got it loose. You can see your rotor, okay? Now, when you put this in the engine block, you want this rotor, see this little point? This is what makes all the connections inside your cap. It touches all these metal points in here, and then it goes through the spark plug wire to the spark plug and causes it to ignite. Now, what you want to do is you want to get this aimed at the number 1 cylinder. So, what I've already done is, before I took this even apart, I found my number 1, which is this one. This is number 1, and then I marked it. I just took a soapstone and I marked it on my cap, and then I marked it mainly, this is the most important part, on the housing of the distributor. So now I know, because I did that, I'll mark it up here just so I can see it a little easier too. So now when I put it in, still hard to see, but now when I put it in, I can see it actually, I can line this up with my mark down there. Now it's not gonna just drop in simple like that because of this gear. You see this, the teeth on this gear are angled. So when you drop this thing in, this thing is gonna spin a little bit, which is gonna make your rotor spin. This gear is meshed in with your camshaft, and that's spins at the correct amount of times and all that other fun stuff. So it keeps in time with the engine, the timing, all that other fun mathematician stuff. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm actually gonna probably, I don't know, 1/16 to 1/8 of a turn before that, and then I'm gonna drop it in. Maybe it's this way I gotta turn, I can't remember. But that way when it drops in, it goes whoop, and hopefully it stops. I wanna get that lined up as close as I can when I do it. So let's get it done. All right, there, I made a little, where'd it go? I made a little better mark up top so I can see it. I took a magic marker. So yeah, let's just get it in. Is it all the way? Nope, I don't think it is. Well, come on now, this is getting silly. This shouldn't be this hard. I know I left the cap kind of unconnected to the wires, but come on. This shouldn't be this difficult. Get in there, you sack of potatoes, you. Oh, you know what I forgot? That's One thing I forgot too. So at the bottom of the distributor, you see that little line in there, that little notch? That actually, there's like a little horseshoe that goes in there or whatnot. That drives your oil pump too. That's gonna be all lined up too. So I gotta take a light, look down that hole, get a screwdriver, spin that, so it lines up with that. That's why the thing's not going in. Silly me, I almost forgot. All right, let's see if I can show you where that. See that right down there? That's it right there. So now I gotta take my screwdriver, like so, spin it. And it goes about like that, I think, roughly. Hopefully I can get that to line up. All right, now that I've spun that, let's try it again, shall we? I want this like so. Come on now. That'll work with me here. Oh, look at that, I went in. Oh, look at that. I think I got plenty of room too. Sweet. Show you what I got. So there, it's in. You can see that. Let's see, get the camera right now. Get the light right. So there's my mark. And there's that. It lines up pretty dang good, I think. So, and two, I've got room to adjust for timing later. So, knock on wood, hopefully that's enough. If it's not, then I gotta take the distributor out, spin it one tooth and make room. But I'm gonna guess that's gonna be okay. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with this. I'll tighten that down, put the plug wires back to the plugs. Well, actually I need to buy new plugs for this thing. But then, yeah, I can put my valve cover on this side too, because I don't need to look at this to find top dead center anymore. Sweet, progress is good. And then, yeah, obviously put your hold down in. You know, you don't want to make it too tight. And then two, also don't lose it like I did and spend a half hour looking for it. And it does. The hold down has to be black and the bolt has to be purple. That's just the way it has to be, honest. All right, next day, I got my alternator on, you can see right there. Now they were missing the spacer for the one big long bolt, so I just went to the local hardware store and get a piece of pipe, cut it, and I put it in. You can see it right, where am I at? Right there. So I tried to line it up, the belt best I could, the pulleys and all that. So yeah, that works. So pretty happy with that. So yeah, where am I at with this thing? I still got to put the transmission mount in. Haven't done that yet. So, but yeah, I ordered a bunch of parts. I ordered a thermostat, spark plugs, I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. So there's more I still got to order too. Eventually I got to get to the brakes. I'd like to get those back together, but I'm still figuring out stuff. So, but you know what? It's Christmas. I got people coming over and I got to help clean the house yet. So, unfortunately, I think I'm going to call it an episode and go inside and start working on that stuff. So, thank you for watching. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. Go have some fun. So, thanks again for watching. If you could like, subscribe, comment. Per usual, I'm slow at the comments, but I will eventually get to them. Thanks again for watching. Take care.